Is a bachelor's degree really worth all that hype and money? What's up guys, it's me Lori, and today's Thursday, which means it's time to talk about how you can tackle your life and career goals. I'm a firm believer that a bachelor's degree is not for everyone because it's not always the only or best way to get a good job, and it's definitely not a guarantee to make more money. In fact, depending on how you go about financing your education, you could end up in a lot of debt. I also don't believe that going to a four-year college and getting that piece of paper necessarily certifies a person's intelligence, because while there are plenty of really smart people out there who do have bachelor's degrees, there's also a lot of dummies who have them too. That said, I do think that there are lots of people out there who haven't been to four-year colleges and might actually find the experience rewarding, and I also think that some people go and have the totally wrong idea of what it's supposed to be. So I'm doing this video today to look at the different scenarios under which you should or shouldn't invest your time and money into a four-year program. The first and most obvious reason why a four-year college program would be good for you is if you want to go into a career for which it's required. A BA or a BS is required in a lot of careers you might be considering, and even in those that you don't, where they tell you don't really need one, it's actually a lot easier to get a job interview sometimes, get a promotion, or get a raise when you have one. This is why my video from last week about trying to figure out what you really like to do is so important, because if you don't know what you want to do, it'll make it that much harder to figure out whether you should be applying for college and also which college you should be applying to. It's not that you have to pick what you want to do right this second. You could have 2, 3, or even 4 different interests that you might want to pursue, but you definitely shouldn't apply for colleges and pick majors blindly, because you could end up wasting a lot of time and money. So the second scenario where it would be really useful for you to consider college is if you have no idea what you want to do at all. Some of us, if not most of us, don't know what we want to do right away, even if we've been working for a while, and that's okay. One of the good things about a four-year program, if you have the time and the money to try and attend one, is that it can really round out your education and give you a little more time to explore the different things that you might want to do. A lot of this would actually depend on how you approach your time in an undergraduate program, and I'll do another video sometime in the future about how to get the most out of college. More importantly, for those of you who really have no idea what you want, getting a bachelor's degree can often give you more options. It can be really hard and a lot of pressure emotionally and financially if you wait to figure out what you want to do, and then when you figure it out like a couple of years later, you realize that you actually need a bachelor's degree in order to do it, and then you have to like start from scratch and go through 4 years before you're even eligible to start. So for example, you might have graduated high school, maybe even started a whole career, and then decided along the way that you actually wanted to be a teacher, but that you need a bachelor's degree. If you think that that's the sort of thing you might realize at some point, starting a four-year program before you're firm on that decision will at least get you halfway through before you decide, and then you'll only have like a little bit left in order to reach your goal. But if you haven't even started, the path is a lot longer ahead of you, which is not the end of the world, but believe me when I say it's really hard to kind of start from zero when you have like years ahead of you before you can really even get the momentum going. Meanwhile, there are a lot of reasons why you may not want to go to a four-year college, and the most obvious one of those reasons is that you already know what you want to do and it doesn't require a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of professions that actually require an associate's degree or a technical degree or a certificate that shows that you are specializing in a specific skill set. If you want to be a cosmetologist, or if you want to go into maybe construction or something where you might need to get an apprenticeship and get starting right away because experience will get you higher pay and more credibility in the industry, you should start that as soon as you can. You should try to find out from people who are already working in the industry what certifications you're going to need to get the raises that you want or to get the positions that you want, and also how much you can expect to be paid in the job after 10 or 20 years. This is actually a crucial point for everyone. When you're choosing a career, you should be looking at it as something that's going to be supporting you and potentially your family over a period of decades. You might find a job, for example, that earns a higher salary than jobs requiring bachelor's degrees, but only after several years of working in them. So you'd want to get a start on those jobs as soon as possible. You might also find a job that right off the bat will pay you really well, like 2-3 times what your peers are making, but you have to look at 10 or 20 years out whether you might hit a salary ceiling and if that's going to limit your overall earning potential and your ability to save for retirement. If you decide that a four-year college isn't right for you, or if you can't find the funding to pay for it right away, I wouldn't worry too much, because if you're truly interested in learning, you can do it on your own. You can read books and probably learn way more than you ever could in a lecture hall. These days, you can even go online and go to specific colleges and professors that you follow and respect and download their coursework and the book lists and everything and study that stuff on your own. There are also a lot of free courses that are available from schools like MIT, and there's lots of sites that'll teach you how to do things like code or learn learn another language on your own. All that said, there are bad reasons not to go to college too. The worst one and the most impractical one that I've heard is the argument that prominent people like Steve Jobs never finished their college programs. Please do not waste your time with these arguments. Steve Jobs was an exceptional person with an exceptional life, and to say that you want to try your luck and see if you can be as special as he is honestly just stupid. I don't know how else to say it. He was already working on entrepreneurial ventures throughout his childhood, so unless you think you've been blazing trails since the age of 12, you're probably not in the same position that he is. If you decide to pursue a career like in technology where people are going to ask you about your educational background, just remember that what your opinion is about college practically isn't going to be as important as what everyone else's perception is. Ultimately, what you don't want is to ever be in a position where you're passed up for a client meeting, a job interview, or a promotion because you don't have a piece of paper to prove to your boss, a potential client, or a potential investor that you deserve a chance. I hope that video was helpful for you guys. If you have any thoughts or questions, leave them in the comments below, especially if you have experiences to share with others, because I really like to hear your feedback. And just as a reminder, I will be featuring my favorite comments here and on Instagram and Twitter in a favorites video each month. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!